Hey guys, so yeah, a little bit later than I wanted, but I literally had like a meeting right before this, so I just got home. But yeah, we're here and we made it. Awesome, right? So first, before I even get into like today's what I wanted to talk about, it's like I'm gonna tell you when like God revealed this to me and like it all came together, I was just like, I can't believe this. I was just like, I gotta tell the people, right? But anyways, but first things first. This week, Thursday, January 31st, I will be having my next mini course. We'll be talking about different diets, just breaking down different diets. We hear a lot about like you have keto, you have Whole30, you have paleo, you have vegetarian, pescatarian, flexitarian, all these different diets. We're gonna talk about them. We're gonna break them down. I'm gonna tell you kind of like the do's and the don'ts, like what's allowed, what's restricted, and basically, so that way, just giving you guys some more information, giving you guys like what I think about them as far as feasibility, how practical are they, how sustainable are they. So just giving you guys all that information. So like, if you want to like, if that's something you're interested in, and you want to kind of follow those like diet restrictions or whatever, follow that type of eating situation, you kind of have like an informed opinion. So like there'll be a good time to like bring your questions, good time to like, talk it out. Like even if you don't have questions and like you hear something you never heard before, a good time to like ask questions about the different diets or whatever. So yeah, that'll be Thursday, 7:30 p.m. right here. Okay, so let me tell you guys about what kind of got like revealed to me. Cause literally this like just blew my mind. It was this morning. Let me tell you guys just about how this all came about. Like, let me just retell the whole story, right? So, I was in my room, and it wasn't quite time for me to go work yet. I had a little extra time or whatever, and so I was like, okay. And see, I have a dog named Milo, and he freaks out just about every time I leave the house. I was like, okay, I can't literally like go like downstairs because he's gonna start freaking out. And I was like, I'm still gonna be here for at least another 20-30 minutes, right? So I was like, okay, I'll just sit in my room. I was like, okay, I can read one of my books. So I was gonna read the Help Meet book that I've talked about. I've shown you guys that book like twice now. The Create to Be His Help Meet book. I was going to go like into the next chapters, but then I looked at the so like after every chapter they have like a set of questions or a prompt or a task for you to do. And so for this time it was like it was a bunch of questions, kind of like almost like you read the chapter, now here's the questions. Did you actually learn anything? Did you actually retain anything? And so like for me, I was like, whoo, yikes. Like some of the stuff I can answer, but some of the stuff I was like, I don't even remember what they said about that. So I was like, maybe I should reread that chapter before I go on to the next one, right? And so the thing was, I was like, all right, well, I still have time, and I don't feel like really rereading this one right now. Like I just wasn't feeling it. So I have a second book that I'm reading right now. Actually, I'm reading a lot of books. I read a lot of books at once. I have another book I'm reading. It is called Believe Bigger, Discover the Path to Your Life Purpose, and it's by Marshawn Evans Daniels. So this is what the book looks like, and she's just kind of like telling her story. Like I'm not even that far in the book. I'm on maybe like the second or third chapter maybe. And so I just like picked up where I was, and I was reading, and I'll read you guys the line basically that had me just stopped in my place. Yeah, because she's talking about like this situation. And I don't want to spoil the book for you guys. And those in the first, I'm only on page 31, so it's not really a spoiler because all this happened like in the first 30 pages of the book. But anyway, she went through this situation, this really big situation, and basically what it says is that this was not rejection, this was protection, redirection, and God's way of being selective. And she's referring to the situation she was in. Like I'll tell you guys a little bit. So like she was engaged to be married, and then all this stuff happened, and she had to call off the wedding like 6 days before the wedding, right? And so she was saying like, and like after the fact, like she was trying to like process everything that happened, like how did all this happen, how did she miss the signs or whatever. And she realized that like what she was feeling was rejection. Basically she was feeling like a big sense of rejection, but really it was God's protection. And when I tell you, that thing hit me so hard, because let me tell you something. 2013, I used to, because I'm not doing it now that I know better, I'm not going to call it this anymore, but I used to literally consider 2013 just like a season of rejection for me. So I'll tell you guys, like what all happened, because like it was a lot. It was my senior year in undergrad, and it was crazy because like I went to A&T. I started off as a business major, right? After my first year, I was in the business major. I was like, I'm not really feeling this. Let me switch to the food and nutritional sciences major. So from sophomore year on, I hustled. I worked hard because I was like, I'm already getting behind like my peers. Let me do everything I can to like catch up. So like they tell you, make sure you have internships. Make sure you're in your organization, like different like organizations with your major. Make sure you get like all the stuff that you should have by the time you graduate. So now I was feeling like, okay, I'm a year behind. Let me really go hard. And like as soon as sophomore year started, I was in the major that I wanted to be in. Like I was like, sure, this time like I'm good. Let me go hard and figure out, have all the other stuff that they tell me to have, right? And so like I literally was like, I got a job on campus. I was working with a lab doing research. This is all sophomore year, so literally my first classes, I'm literally basically considered like almost a freshman in that major because I hadn't taken any like nutrition classes or any of the basics. But I got into I interviewed for the lab positions. I got them. I was making really good grades that year. Actually, I made really good grades for the most part. Only thing that had me stuck was chemistry trial. When I tell you chemistry is like the devil almost, because Lord have mercy, I almost didn't make it because of chemistry. So anyways, like I was working hard. In my junior year, I switched to a food microbiology lab. So I was doing a lot more like research, like in the actual lab setting. The first one was in like nutrition. The second one was more so food science based, and it was a lot, more technical stuff. And so I was working in the lab. I had that job. I was on campus, but I also was in different organizations. I was in the hometown club. I was in my majors, like in the honor societies. I was like treasurer one year, secretary another year. I was in like the club, like the food and nutritional sciences club, the family and consumer sciences club. Like I was literally building up my resume just like they taught me to. I was building up my experience. I was making good grades, right? I was in the honors program, and I was doing just a lot. Like everything they told me to do, I did it. Like literally my GPA, I literally graduated with like a 3.6. And it was only because of chemistry, the reason why my GPA was only a 3.6. But like literally I busted my butt. And so then the summer after my junior year, I did another internship. I went to Michigan State. I was working in the microbiology lab, so really focusing that whole food, like the whole microbiology side of everything. And so like literally I came back from that internship ready because it's like I did everything my advisor told me to do. He was like, get this internship at this, big college. And so then that way when you apply, they will know you and you'll get in, all this stuff. And literally, because that was like his like formula. He said, do A, B, and then come C. And so this is what I did. And it was crazy because there was people who like a year ahead of me, they did it. They got into like those bigger colleges for grad school. Because I knew I was going straight into grad school afterwards. They got into it, and I was like, okay, as long as I keep doing what he told me to do, I'm good. Senior year came along, and like everything was going fine, right? First semester was great, like my grades were good, everything was good, right? And then second semester came around, and so second semester was the worst. Probably, literally, this is 2013, right? Literally, probably like the worst year of my life, if we're being honest. And like it started off like, and it was crazy because I went into that semester so hopeful. It was like things I wanted to do. That I was going like a lot of things I was like applying for during that time, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get it because like there's no reason why not for me not to get this stuff. Like my GPA was solid. I had great community service. Like I had great experience in like my majors. Like I was a solid candidate for every single thing I applied for. But then clearly not that great, I guess, because literally everything I applied to denied. It started off I wanted to be in the sorority. Got to the interview, did the interview. Didn't get selected. Okay, not a big deal. Wasn't gonna sweat that. And then I'll start applying for grad schools. The grad schools I applied to Michigan State and I applied to Purdue. Michigan State sent me an email saying you didn't get it. Like I didn't even get a letter. Like after all that I put into that application, I didn't even get a letter. I got an email. Purdue, I never even heard back from. Like I don't know whatever happened to that. Literally never heard back from Purdue, right? And so like when I rejected from grad school, I was applying for internships. And I was applying for jobs. I was like, I need something after, I was like, I just need something after I graduate. And like grad school was still up in the air. It was like I was getting rejection for that. Every single application as far as jobs I applied to, rejected. Every single application I applied to as far as internships, rejected. And I mean, I was legit it wasn't even just stuff in my field. I was applying to be a nanny. Like, that's how desperate I was to get something. And I was going on interviews, still got rejected from. And it was crazy because around the same time, the guy I had been dating, like, I had been dating this dude at that point for like 2 years. He broke up with me because he was like, Elaine, I just can't make you happy no more. So I was like, look, child, I can't even make me happy. Because on top of all of that, my granddad, he was sick, but he didn't tell anybody. And like, he had a heart attack. And he was in the hospital. That was like March. And then April, he passed away. So then I'm dealing with that as well. And then my boyfriend broke up with me. But I was like, look, child, I can't handle all of this in once. So like, we're going to have to get back together because, look, who can really go through a breakup with everything else going on? So we lasted like a couple more months, and then we broke up again later. Then, so I'm still in the situation where I don't know what I'm doing after grad school. So I applied back to A&T. And of course, they was going to accept me. How they not going to accept me, you know? I literally went there. So yeah, I got in, but it still didn't feel like, oh, I got into grad school. It was just like, well, duh, they could have to, you know, accept me or whatever. And so then even on the day I graduated, my uncle passed away. And this was my grandmother's last living sibling. So, I mean, when I tell you those months was like one thing after another, after another, after another, after another, I felt so defeated. I have never felt so defeated in my life. I've never felt defeated in my life. I always felt like, you know, there's always a brighter side. There's always more I can do. There's always something else. You know, there's always a way you can switch it or find that silver line. No. May 2013, I was done. I had nothing left in me. I was so defeated. And so, like, I went through that summer. And so, like, I ended up working at my church that I grew up in. They had, like, these custodial positions opened up. And, like, a couple of my friends were working with them. And so I applied there, and they, you know, got me, they, you know, accepted me or whatever. It still wasn't like, oh, I'm finally getting something, because I'm like, this is my home church. I literally was a member of that church my entire life. Like, my parents were still active and they were members of the church. So of course it was like one of those, like, they just threw me a bone type situations. So literally I go into that first semester of grad school. So this is fall 2013, just still defeated. I thought I was in a better place. I tried to, you know, wrap my mind like, okay, it's good, it's okay. Like, I could do a comeback or whatever, but I was still in a really bad place. And it's crazy because I was thinking that literally what I carried with me was like, I'm in a season of rejection. And so the thing is, where you feel rejected like that, you do whatever it takes to not feel rejected again. You do whatever it takes. And so I was in this thing where it's like, I'm now looking for acceptance. And I'm looking for acceptance anywhere I can find it, because literally everybody has rejected me from everything I ever thought I was going to do. Every one thing I wanted to do, everything I didn't even want to do, I still got rejected from it, right? And so, like, that is a dangerous place to be in. It's so dangerous because I open myself up to so many more things, because now I'm desperate. I am desperate for acceptance. Like, I literally, like, compromised who I was as a person who got creativity, because now I am desperate to try to fill this void, to feel like I'm enough, feel like I'm worthy, feel like I'm, you know, that I'm like who I like, because I have this perception at this point, like, literally I've been working 3.5 years hard, grinding hard in college just to be rejected from everything. Like, literally wasn't like I was a bad student. Like, I had good grades. I had the experience. I had the volunteers. Like, I had the leadership experience. I had everything, and still everything. Like, it was basically like the world telling me that I was still not good enough. And for somebody like, and like, I hold myself in high esteem. Like, I think I'm the greatest person ever, if you ask me, honestly. But that was a blow to my self-esteem, to my ego, that I could not manage, when I tell you. And so, 24, fall 13, spring 14, I was literally in this place of desperation. I was in this place where I was really trying to prove myself, prove that I was good enough. And it's crazy because I was still hitting this wall. Like, even though I'm trying to do things, like, I was like, maybe I should get a hobby, because, you know, that's be something else I could be good at. I'm looking for things that I can check off, looking for things I can be like, oh, I'm good at this, to make myself even better. Because I'm like, clearly I still wasn't good enough. It's crazy though. And it's crazy, like, when you're in that situation, the atmosphere that you create around you. So, like, I already had an issue with lust. That was something that had been planted, like, high school, like 9th grade, high school. I already had this issue with it, where it wasn't like, basically what it was like, when it came to sex and all that kind of stuff, the person who, I don't want to say introduced it to me, but because like I knew like the technical, the textbook, all that stuff, they did that, I think middle school maybe. And my mom, she was like, she worked at the teen clinic, so like I was aware of stuff. I was like, it wasn't like I didn't know, but as far as like, I don't know, I can't necessarily remember a time where I was actually told, as far as this is what the Bible says about this, and this is why you should hold yourself and why you should keep yourself and all that part of it. I can't. Now it might have happened. I might have just been not paying attention, but I can't remember a time where that happened. And so I was really like, as far as actually experiencing things, like that knowledge of it, I got from my first boyfriend. And it wasn't like we like did anything crazy or anything, but he was like, "Oh, you should like watch this." It was some old lady on TV talking about sex education. You should watch that because it's really informative. And so then that opened my that was kind of like the gateway to it, because she wasn't given like, "Oh, the Bible says this. This is what you're doing. You're creating soul ties. This is why they only want you to do that. This is what got into that to be between husband and wife, because you're creating a soul tie." She gave me textbook biology of it. So I'm like, okay, and then I'm like, let's go do this thing, And so from that point on, I was opened up to it, and like to where like very in a very visual way of it. And so to the point where it's like this was something I dealt with throughout high school, throughout college. And so like I always had a boyfriend. And like the thing was, being sexually active with him was like no big deal. As long as we were in a relationship, I was perfectly fine. Because I ain't gonna be out here, thotting and bopping. Because no, I was a lady, but it was like, from what I considered it to be, like my standard was that we had to be in a relationship. It wasn't what God's standard for me was. It was that, oh, as long as we're in a relationship, it's cool. And so the thing was, is though, I was really used to watching it. So then I was like, this. I then went from me hanging out with my boyfriend or whatever to like, okay, I want this and I want to see it more and I want to be exposed to more, because I have this idea planted in me. Oh, you need to learn more about this. You need to know more. So when you're telling me, oh, I need to know more about this, then I'm going to go out and look for it. Well, the little old lady show, I don't know what happened to it, or I got over that one, so I had to find something else. Well, what else are you going to, like, where else are you going to find visual media learning about sex, pornography? And so then I started going deeper into this pornography thing, and like, where it's something where it definitely continued to grow over like the years. It's like, it wasn't like a big thing at first, but like something that grew over time. And so like, I had this thing where I would never say it was like an addiction, because I was fine without it, but it was like something was like, it was so natural for me to like look up something, find something here, find something there. And so then the thing was though, I was particular. And the thing is, it's crazy how like, something's wrong, like I wasn't like filled with the Holy Ghost. I didn't even know anything about the Holy Ghost back then. Like, so like, but I knew something in me was like, no, this isn't right. I shouldn't necessarily, like, I felt unease with watching pornography. And so about accounted it to, oh, it's because, oh, you're not used to seeing the guy like that. So then I was like, oh, well, it makes more sense to me just to watch a girl on girl, because then that way, I'm already familiar with all the parts. Ain't nothing different. Ain't nothing like, cause it used to gross me out. The guys would used to gross me out, like, because you're not supposed to be watching it. Your soul is conflicted right now. That's the issue. But I attribute it to, oh, it's because I'm just more used to seeing, not seeing the guy. And so basically what I did, I started watching girl on girl. And so throughout throughout undergrad, it was something I watched from time to time, but I had a boyfriend, so everything was fine. Now you go towards 2013, 2014, when now I'm in the situation where I feel rejected. Me and my boyfriend at that point had broken up again, because like it wasn't gonna last longer. It wasn't gonna last long, but I just couldn't handle a breakup during that. In the like highest point of all that rejection, I couldn't handle a breakup. But like August, we broke up, and so now I'm not in a relationship. This is the first time I was not in a relationship since 9th grade. That was what, that was 05. Literally, that was in 9th grade in 05. It's 2013. This is my first time not being in a relationship. My first time not, having someone to be in that, to fill that void that I've created, because I've been sexually active and I've been, involved in that for so long. So now I'm looking for other places to satisfy that. So I'm going to pornography, but I'm going to girl on girl pornography, because that's what I was comfortable with. And so from there, 2014 is like, I I was at the point where, you know what, I'm trying all this stuff. I'm looking for attention. Let me go get that attention now. Maybe I should try this out. Maybe I should try to find, my idea was like, you know what, let me just try it. I could just try it and see if I like it or not. And so to the point where like I thought about it so much that I was having dreams about, okay, hooking up with a girl. Like, oh, maybe I'll just, and always it was, oh, I'll just try it. I'll just see. Not realizing that wasn't my thought. That was the enemy's thought that I had planted, because I have this whole thing of lust now that I have to deal with. And so I'm going to tell you, though, when God saved me, though, and I'm so grateful for this. It was right when the point where I was literally looking up. I think I was in summer school, or for some reason I was in Greensboro for the summer. And I think I might have been working or whatever. I was looking up, okay, gay bars, gay clubs in Greensboro. And I found one where they did a night or whatever. And I was at the point where I was like, you know what, I'm going to go just to see what it's like, And like the thing was, all my friends had graduated and they had, moved on. It was the summertime, so wasn't that many people around. So I was like, I could do this and nobody would ever know. And it wouldn't be a big deal. And it's crazy because like I use Groupon, right? I was on Groupon and I saw this, it was for like Match.com or whatever. Because I was like, you know what? Because I'm still in this mode where I'm longing to be in some type of relationship with somebody at this point. I was like, you know what? I got a free weekend. Let me try it. It was only like $5 because of the Groupon. I was like, I could try it. And from there, I ended up meeting a guy. So I had done that before I had decided to go to the club. I was kind of doing new things at twice, like around the same time, right? But the weekend where I was like thinking about going to that club, this guy messaged me, right? And he was like, oh, I saw your stuff. I, think you're awesome. I think you're great. He wrote me this crazy long message, right? And he was just telling me all this stuff that, oh, I think you're so great and all this other stuff, right? And so like we start talking, right? And this guy, he was in the Army. He was, everything they told me I should be looking for in like a godly marriage, it was him. It was crazy, right? He was literally talking like he had just gotten saved like recently. So he was like on fire for God for real and like crazy, like into it. And he was like, he was telling me how great I was, but then he was also telling me about God. And like we started talking. And so then this relationship, like we weren't dating or nothing because we were just talking online or whatever. But like this thing developed where it distracted me. And I honestly believe God used that guy to keep me from going down that path because I was right there. I was so close to going. And it's kind of like, how they say God, will lead the 99 to get the one. That was my moment because God used this person to grab my attention to keep me from going further than, because the thing is with me, had I gone further, it wouldn't have been no turning back for me because I would have been ashamed. And, that's condemnation. And so like, how would I then been able to go forth in ministry, go forth in life, for real, do what he called me to do if I've gone that far? And not to say, God would have, allowed me to sit in condemnation, but I might have allowed myself. So one, just saying I'm thankful for that. That God, came out and like legit snatched me up because I was making horrible decisions during that time just because I was at a place of just rejection. I was in a really broken place and I was looking for attention anywhere. And God used that and was able to show me, like, he used this guy to show me his love, like God's love for me. And so it's crazy because the guy, he would mention the scripture to me, right? And like, he told me to like, he just it wasn't like he was Bible thumping or whatever. He would just mention God because he was like, this is life he was legit living. So he'll mention God every now and then, and he'll talk about a scripture or whatever. And so he'll read the scripture, and it'd be crazy because like I had this devotional that I had started, and it was like a Joyce Meyer's devotional, is Confident Woman, because I was like, I'm going to read this because I was really actually getting prepared for my exit exam, or I forgot what it's called when in grad school you got to do like an exam. You have the written portion and you have an oral portion. And like I knew I wasn't a confident speaker. I would get nervous. So I was like, well, if I read these devotionals, this year-long devotional out loud, I'll be more confident in speaking. And it'd be crazy because the verse that he would mention like on the phone would be the same verse of that day. And I was just like, this is amazing. It was would blow my mind completely. And the thing was, it was just like, this isn't a coincidence. Like the first couple of times, like, oh, that was cute. Oh, that was a coincidence. But after a while, it was kind of like, no, this is God. And like, God used that God to show me, like, oh, no, this is God. And he was like, you need to make sure you get into a church and make you find a group of women who can, like, you know, pour into you, as a church has a good women's ministry, so you can learn more and all this stuff. And it's crazy because I legit thought I was going to marry this dude. So I was like, surely can't get no better than this, right? But the thing was, God only used him to get me to a church so I could be planted, so I could be poured into, so I can learn more about God and the Holy Spirit and all this stuff, right? And like, as soon as I was established, like sort of at this church, I remember because I was like so excited. I found the church. I was going. People seemed cool. Things between us started getting shaky, right? And it was crazy because like I was learning to talk to like God. I was learning to like actually listen like for an actual answer, because like people used to say they would talk to God and God would say this, and I'm like, whoa, that's crazy. Like God actually talked to you. Like I didn't even know that was a real thing for them. And so like clear as day, I heard God tell me like, it's time for you guys, like this is it. Like, and I asked the guy, I was like, what would you do if God told you to no longer talk to somebody? And God was like, I'll just stop talking to him, like just like that. And he's like, wow, what's up? And I was like, I feel like God might be saying that. He immediately, because this is how obedient this dude was. This is how he's like, I'm living for God. Like this relationship stuff is cool or whatever, but like his first focus was God and pleasing God. He immediately stopped talking to me. Crazy, right? So yeah, but all of that came out of me being in a place of rejection and looking for acceptance. And so when she said in the book that it wasn't rejection, but a place of protection, literally that thing just hit me hard, because all this time, literally, now that was 2013, it's 2019. If you would have asked me yesterday, I would have told you 2013 was a year of rejection for me. Like, and it hit like for real, like legit would have told you that. But now it's like, oh, wait a minute. It wasn't rejection. God was protecting me. God was making, because the thing was, it's like, I originally even tried to go back home. Like, I was at the point where I was like, you know what, grad school, because even my first year in grad school was horrible for me. It was so hard. Like, it wasn't hard. Like, the work was hard. It was literally me and my advisor, who had been my advisor for years. Things had been great between us. We things like started, this crazy stuff started happening with our relationship, where it was just like, I legit was about to flunk out and I was about to be fired from my job. And it was just so many things like happened. And I was like, I want to go home. I legit wanted to go home. So I applied to UGA so I can at least finish it. Because, you know, master's ain't but 2 years. So if you're 1 year down, you might as well, you know, finish it. So I was like, let me apply to UGA to try to, you know, finish it there, and I'll go back home. Got rejected from UGA. And I was like, I'm not about to start this again. So I just stayed put. But it's crazy though, because like, had I gone elsewhere, like the thing was, I really honestly believe God had me, like needed me to be at the church I was at the time, to really give me some foundation stuff, to really help me grow, and then for me to then to be where I am today. And so like, I was trying to go to Michigan, I was trying to go to Purdue, which is in Indiana. I was trying to do so many things, or go back home. And it's like, had I gone anywhere else, I would have been so uncomfortable where I wouldn't even try to find a church. If I would have went back home, I would have been back to my home church. And not to say there's anything wrong with my home church, but I feel as though I needed to be away from home, but also still in a place that I was familiar with, so enough so that I could still grow and learn and develop, but not at a pace where I would have been completely uncomfortable. Like in the year after that, like I grew so much in the Lord. Like I literally went from like, okay, I know God is real, but like how real, I don't really know, to like, no, me and God talking all the time. Oh, I got filled with the Holy Ghost. Oh, I got all these gifts. Oh, God has called me to be like an intercessor and all this other stuff. Like to the point where I am now is like, I'm legit on Facebook talking to y'all about God and Jesus and how great he is, you know? And so the thing is though, the root of rejection is fear. That's where it is. It really is. And so like, if you're operating out of fear, you make bad decisions, you know? You do things that you really aren't, you don't like. Let me see, I got my phone. Cornelius Lindsay said something today that I was like, yo, that is exactly what it is. I'm gonna put it up. But like, I was legitimately operating in fear, operating out of, I don't think I will ever be accepted. Oh, operating out, there must be something wrong with me. He said, oh, a bitter heart cannot produce healthy decisions. When I tell you, you can't, it was obvious I was bitter because like everything, like I was just like not only defeated, but the bitterness had set in because of the fact that everything, like I just had this grudge and I had this huge bitterness like towards my school, my university, my actual department. Come like you guys felt me. Like if I didn't get in grad school, then you guys felt me. I had all this bitterness locked up inside of me, and so I literally was not making sound decisions. Like Alani, you know who you are, you know who you called to be, and you know you ain't no lesbian. So why are you even trying? Like literally, that is not of God. But you're out here so desperate, so fearful that you won't be accepted anywhere, that you're literally looking for stuff in places that you would never have gone to in your right mind, you know? So yeah, crazy, right? So all that to say that, you know, one of the things, actually, I don't know what all that was to say, but I think it's just more so just one, recognizing what season you really are in. Sometimes, like, I kind of mentioned it earlier, like when I posted I was going to go live this morning. I just said how basically how you perceive a situation can really change like years of your life. So I was perceiving it as rejection when really it was protection. Had I known that God was protecting me this whole entire time, I would have behaved differently. Like I wouldn't been out there looking for attention from everywhere, because clearly God loves me so much that He is willing to close every single door to make sure that I'm right where I'm supposed to be. God loves me so much. He's giving me so much attention that He's literally making sure I don't go anywhere but exactly to the place where I'm supposed to be at. Like God is literally like, and the thing is, there's like, I know sometimes we think of a no as like, oh, we're being rejected, but no, it's like your no, that no, it was protecting you. Like who knows what would have been on the other side of that no? Like literally, who knows if I would have went to Michigan or Purdue, what like could have happened when I was up there, or even it might not have been in deep, but I might not be where I am right now. And so like me having this season rejection, no, you missed it. No, God was protecting you this entire time. And so now it's kind of like, okay, wait a minute. Like, first of all, like I literally been dealing with identity and knowing my worth. Like, you know how much more like, oh, I was so important to God. What's inside of me is so important to God. It's so important for the kingdom. God literally made sure that nobody else would take me off the path that I was supposed to be on. That He literally made a way where everybody else, even how prepared I was, even everything else that qualified me for all the things that I applied for, that there was still something or a reason that I didn't get it. So then that way He would have me exactly where I needed to be. Now that's a complete mind change, but you change that one thing, completely changed your whole outcome, completely changed how you look at situations, completely changed how you view God. Because all this time I'm thinking God allowed this thing, because I know like God ain't gonna just, verses all things work together for my good. But I'm still trying to figure out how this whole, like I was thinking of God's gonna turn this rejection season around, that I'm gonna get something good out of the rejection season. Like, no, God was protecting me the whole entire time. And so now it's just something where it's just like, just that one change just changes literally everything. So like I don't have to operate out of fear. I don't have to like be seeking like attention. I don't have to prove myself. Like literally I was talking a couple of videos ago, I think maybe like 2 videos ago, I was just talking about worth and like having to prove myself, like operating out of like this whole motive that I need to prove myself, that I need to be the best, that I need to be better than what I am right now, because I'm still operating out of that season of rejection where I wasn't good enough. No, you were good enough, but God was keeping you. God was hiding you. God didn't want someone to spoil what you have inside of you. Like, what if somebody would have like, because this even goes beyond that one season where like I was in the church where I was like, I know like I'm good at some stuff, I can do some things, but all this time like I was there, no one really asked me to do anything. No one asked me to serve in any capacity, and not even out of leadership capacity, but of like, hey, do you want to help stack the chairs at the service? Like anything. Also, like at the point where it's like, literally, there must be something seriously wrong with me. No. There was nothing wrong with you. God was hiding. God was preserving you, because if you gotten too attached there, you wouldn't have been able to make the move to the next place you needed to go. Like it is so crazy, and like so like all this time where I've been trying to prove myself, trying to prove my worth, prove that I was good enough, that I'm like literally capable to do things. No, of course you're capable. This is why God had to hide you. God had to protect you so that no one else would taint any of that. Now, mind you, there's some ironing out we have to do. There's a little polishing that still needs to be done. But this light completely changed the style. Changes that whole year and how I perceived it, you know? It's crazy, right? Whew, yeah, that was a lot. So yeah, if you're watching this, I just want to encourage you, like, to look at the situations that you might have labeled as a rejection season or as a storm, and try to see it from God's point of view. Ask God to show you His point of view, show you how He actually perceives that situation. To have the mind of God, ask for God to give you His mind about that situation. And when He changes it, when He shows you how He really intended it and His intent for it, just allow it to open up like the way you like see things. Because I promise you, you see like, oh no, it wasn't rejection, it was protection. It'll completely change how you operate and how you move into your next season. So I just want to encourage you guys to really like seek after that kind of stuff, like to really get that, revelation. Seek after revelation, because I tell you, it could definitely change how you perceive things and then how you move forward. So I'm excited for you guys, because that right there just blew my mind. So if y'all do it, I'm sure it's gonna blow y'all minds too. So yeah, that's pretty much it. But I'm like in a really good place right now, so I'm really excited about that. So yeah, it was a year of protection, and I'm excited. So yeah, again, Thursday, 7:30, I'll be here talking about diets and all that kind of stuff. So join me. All right, I'll talk to you later.